Hey guys, so if you're new here, which you probably are because I just started my page like a week ago, this is Apartment Planning Co. where I help people get approved for apartments, houses, whether they have bad credit, evictions, low proof of income, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video, because I feel like housing should be a right and there should be no reason why someone is denied because of little stuff or something that happened years ago or even less than three times the rent and they know they can afford the rent. Okay, so in this video I'm going to be talking about how I get approved for apartments without making three times the rent. I did the same thing for my clients. This is what I do currently and what I did in the past. All right, so I'm gonna make this quick. Before we get into it, I just want to kind of talk about the problem and the reason why people have to find ways to get approved without three times the rent, because rent is going up but the wages are staying the same. So the three times the rent requirement has been around for a long time, but inflation is going up and they're not really taking into account, the rent is just getting higher and higher and higher. So it leads people to have to either get an ugly cheap apartment, because that's within their what they can prove they can afford, you know, or they see a nice apartment and it's slightly outside of their budget proof, so they can't get approved. So me personally, I had to find a way around that. My very first apartment was the only apartment I could afford. It was just so ugly and nasty and dirty, and that's just all I could get because I couldn't prove any extra income. And I just wasn't having it. All my childhood, we always lived in trailers and just nasty, ugly, squeaky houses. And I'm so obsessed with everything apartments, and I just have to have a nice apartment. I don't care. So some people know they can afford the rent. They know they can afford it. They just don't have that extra proof of income. And I'm here to help you. All right. So let's get into it. The first method is an offer letter. Ooh, I see I messed up on some of the words. Okay. But an offer letter is what you get when you're offered a job, of course. So if you apply for a job, they offer you the position, they send you a letter, you send it back, you're officially hired. It doesn't matter if you start next week, next month, you're hired through that contract basically. So what most people don't know is a lot of property companies, they will accept this as proof of income. As long as your start date is within 30 to 60 days, you can use this as proof. And now some places, all places don't always accept offer letters. So it's really important to check and make sure before get set on a specific place. But usually when your start date is within 30 60 days, they'll allow that because there's a lot of people that's, moving from a different state, or they been stay at home mom. So it's a lot of different reasons, and that's why these places accept it. All right. So here's how you can maximize your chances of getting approved, because some places they may say, oh, well, you have to have a current job, or you got to wait for you to get your first paycheck. Regardless, you want to kind of maximize your chances. Nobody wants to apply and pay the application fee and get denied. So what I recommend is, if you have a current job, go out, get an offer letter, get a job offer, combine it with your current job, and that should get you over three times the rent, hopefully. Now, let's see. Next, the first tip is focus on getting in the door. What I mean is, even if you don't want to take that job or you don't think you're going to start, you don't want to work, that don't even matter. All you have to do is apply with that offer letter. Once you get approved, that's it. They're not going to be asking no extra questions, okay? So just focus on getting in the door. Nobody said you got to actually work the job, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. As long as you can afford the rent and you really don't need that job and you really don't want to work it, just focus on getting in the door. All right, now I know how the job market is these days. So if you are having trouble obtaining a job, like to get that offer letter, tip number two is go to my website, and I'll kind of show y'all my website towards the end of this video. But go to my website, fill out the quiz or the intake form, and I can personally reach out to you and let you know how we can get you an offer letter quickly. But in order to work with me, you do have to have some form of income. You have to have something, because I like to, whenever I work with somebody in that way, I like to maximize the chances, because I really don't want people to, have a low chance of getting approved. And you can get approved with just an offer letter. You really can, because, it's a normal thing. But if you have a current job, it helps a lot. Now, I do make exceptions to this, so it really just depends. But yeah, So method number two is, and this is kind of the same as a current job, but if you do Uber, Instacart, DoorDash, or babysitting, any type of consistent income proof that you get in your bank statements or in your bank account every month or every week or whatever, you can use that as proof of income. So if you have a current job and you just need an offer letter, try to add up. If you do any of this stuff, add it all up because it might get you over 3 times the rent, but it has to be consistent. Like the average amount kind of has to be consistent. Or if you find an offer letter and you want to kind of maximize your chances, or they say, well, you have to have current income, use that Uber, Instacart, DoorDash, use your bank statements, and that should work. Not all places will, accept this type of income, so it's important to ask, but definitely try this before you kind of count yourself out. And like I said, if you don't have any of these, just go to my website. I can get you started as long as you have a current job. All right, next is method number 3 and 4, and which is add a roommate. Okay, this is it, and it kind of takes me back to the tip that I said earlier about focus on getting in the door. They don't have to live with you as long as you can find somebody that's okay with being on the lease with you, so you can prove the extra income. You just use their income, combine it with yours, and that's how you get over the 3 times the rent. They don't have to live with you or anything. Y'all can work out a little agreement. You just need to get your place, okay? But make sure that they have decent credit, because if their credit is bad, it will get you denied. To get both of y'all denied. The other option, which is number 4, is to add a cosigner. This is a lot harder because they have to have good credit. They can't just have decent credit. Their credit usually has to be like a 700, and they do have to make 5 times the rent. But if you do have somebody like that, definitely, see if they can be your cosigner and ask the properties first, because sometimes usually they do accept a cosigner if you don't make 3 times the rent, but just make sure to ask before you decide on a place, all right? And if you are worried about moving costs, so say you got an offer letter, you don't start till next month, you're worried about how you're going to you want to move right now, you're worried about how you're going to have the money to move, maybe you're in a bad situation or whatever. Oh, wow, this video is getting long. But go watch my video. I'll make sure this shows up at the end, but I tell y'all how I got approved for a luxury apartment with less than $400, all right? Because I know a lot of people think you need a lot of money to move, and you really don't, all right? So just go watch that video, and hopefully it can help you. And then lastly, y'all, I want to show y'all my website. So it is apartmentplanningco.com. If you have any issues with getting approved, go fill out this quiz, answer the questions, and about your situation, and it will come up with a result to give you some insight on what you should do next and everything like that. Here it goes right here. So if you do want to talk further, you can book a free call and we can talk about your situation and hopefully help you get approved. Not hopefully, but hopefully you work with me and I can get you approved. I'll get you approved somewhere. All right. Or you can click on start your plan and fill out this intake form. You put your information in, and then I'll email you instead of doing a call. And I'll just, let you know what you need to do, how I can help you, what services you need. But those are the 2 ways to reach out to me and work with me at apartmentplanningco.com, y'all. So lastly, I want to show y'all this because I'm not just an approval girl. I am I don't even know the word I'm trying to use, but I created the very first apartment hunting planner. Here we go, y'all. Y'all ready? All right, so this is an aesthetic apartment hunting planner to keep you organized throughout your whole move. So we have a few tools. Make sure you're ready to apply. We got a budget planner, a fun little match game, a tour checklist, and an apartment comparison. Now this is the beta version, so I really encourage you guys to join the wait list so that way you can get your first month free when we launch, all right? So I know this video is going to start over, but let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and if you need any help with getting approved or anything, go to my website and fill out the quiz so I can help you out.